Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Creative Ways to Increase Ticketing Revenue. My name's Joe Wettstead. I'm Vice President of Client Services for accesso ShoWare. I'm joined today by Mikala Thompson, Client Services Manager. Mikala came to accesso ShoWare as a previous user of the system. Mikala provides great perspective from the venue point of view. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items so you know what to expect and how to participate in today's webinar. You may have already noticed that your voices have been muted, and you will have the opportunity to type questions, and they will be addressed at the very end of today's webinar. So let's get started. At accesso, we know you want to be a forward-thinking industry leader. And in order to do that, you need technology solutions to grow your business and create connected guest experiences. Because technology really is critical to the success of your business and the happiness of your guests. But it's not always that easy and can leave you feeling overwhelmed. Venues around the world struggle to keep up with evolving technology and growing guest expectations, often lacking the functionality, resources, and data they need to succeed. At accesso, we get it, and we provide solutions that empower our clients to create connected guest experiences that drive their business forward, from distribution opportunities with Ingresso, ticketing with ShoWare or Passport, point of sale with SeriousWare, queuing with LowQ, and tying the entire guest experience together with TE2. Our suite of solutions is ready to help you at your venue. That's why over 1,000 venues in 30 countries have chosen to partner with us. So let's talk ShoWare. The accesso ShoWare product serves a variety of live entertainment venues around the globe. Our accesso ShoWare ticketing suite offers a complete range of software solutions to empower venues to take full control of their ticket sales. With solutions for box office, kiosk, online, mobile, call center, and social media sales, the accesso ShoWare solution enables venues to easily control their operations, set fees, and increase overall profitability. And as we'll explore today, ShoWare has a lot of features and functions that can help in creating unique guest experiences and help in garnering more revenue with advanced pricing features. Today's webinar is going to be broken up into two sections. So part one, we're going to focus on adventures and inventory management. Part two will focus on utilizing the enhanced guest experience to garner more revenue. And then, as I mentioned previously, we're going to finish up, as we always do, with a Q&A. So part one, adventures and inventory management. Scaling. We're going to talk about that. Are we taking the time to reimagine our scaling for every show, or do we just do what we did the last show? Resale. Do we get frustrated with the secondary market, but not take the time to use powerful tools in the product to create and manage our own secondary market? Pricing. Why do we price everything like a primary seller right out of the gate? Limited release. Should we be putting everything on sale out of the gate, or should we hold some inventory back and release some premium after the initial onslaught? And finally, distribution. The landscape is changing. In some countries, distribution trumps primary ticket sales by a large margin. Let's explore that and talk about how to get on board with that. So first up, Mikala's going to talk to us about scaling. Mikala?
All right, thanks, Joe. So what is scaling exactly? In summary, scaling is setting the price of seating areas based on a variety of factors. Some of these factors include proximity to the stage or arena floor, centrality of the view, acoustics from the seating area, and perceived value of the seats. The value of a seating area is often driven by the type of show. For example, front row seats will go for top price at a comedy show, but maybe the last to sell when a large dance company is performing. Similarly, the house left piano side is often most desirable for symphony orchestra shows, while the 50-yard line or center court are the coveted spots for sports fans. Think of Gallagher and his Sludge-O-Matic at the end of each show. Fans would clamor for the opportunity to be in the front few rows of his splash zone, all for a chance at being completely covered in smashed watermelon. You can also scale a house based on the type and comfortability of the seats. Think padded booths versus metal benches. What else makes a seat more comfortable and appealing? The latest trend in scaling has venues increasing the price of those ever-desirable aisle seats. Easy to access, first out the door at intermission and post-show, and extra leg room via the adjacent aisle. Airlines have already capitalized on the fact that many customers are willing to pay a little extra to have a guaranteed aisle space to avoid that dreaded middle seat, or be closer to the front of the plane to be first out of the gate upon arrival. Consider those same types of tendencies with your own guests. Many venues feel they are too small to offer more than one pricing area based on the view of the action. But even so much as bumping aisle seats to a slightly higher price or the popular first row of a mezzanine can add up over the course of time. A modest 10% bump on just 10% of your seats will increase your annual bottom line incrementally over a flat single price seat map at no extra cost to your venue. Most venues have a decent idea of where customers buy first and where they're willing to pay the most and the least. But if you want to dial in further on hard numbers, consider heat mapping, using statistics to determine your most frequently sold seats. Venues sometimes spend a lot of money to determine these areas through consulting agencies. And for the sake of this webinar, low to no cost solutions, consider ways to determine these areas by utilizing your accesso ShoWare system. If you've been selling on your platform for a while, the ticket buyer report by event category can be sorted, subtotaled, and analyzed to discover specific seating trends for each type of event. Another way to increase the bottom line is to become your own secondary market. Why let resellers have any control of inventory, price gouging your patrons in the process? If you have the good fortune of full or near capacity events and are frustrated by seeing the markup on third-party sites and don't currently offer resale on your performances, listen closely. Accesso ShoWare's resale functionality allows a venue to offer their very own online marketplace on a performance-by-performance basis for your customers to buy and sell tickets. The concept is simple. Once resale is turned on for your site, which costs nothing to you, you can enable it on any performance. At that point, customers can either put any number of tickets up for resale using their online account. If the tickets are sold to a new customer, the venue dictates whether the customer's credit card is automatically refunded or converted to a patron credit. Any ticket fees are kept by the venue from both the selling customer and the buying customer. So for example, Customer A has received a refund for a show he can't attend. Customer B is excited to have scored tickets to a sold-out show, and the venue has a full house, happy patrons, and a bit of extra revenue to show for it. The resale feature is also a great option for venues who find themselves managing wait lists for sold-out events, and also benefits guests in a very hands-off way while maintaining your no refunds policy. With resale, it's important to communicate information to fans in advance and have a consistent policy. So if you're interested in learning more about resale and trying it out on your dev site, just contact your client services manager. Next up, Joe's going to tell us more about dynamic pricing.
All right, thanks, Mikala. So dynamic pricing, what is it? And dynamic pricing defined is the practice of varying the price for a product or service to reflect changing market conditions. In particular, the charging of a higher price at a time of greater demand. There are great dynamic pricing tools in ShoWare, and they're largely underutilized. Dynamic pricing is fair and a great way to reward the early bird and pinch margins for the secondary market. So in accesso ShoWare product, there are quantity triggers for your dynamic pricing, and there are also percentage-based triggers for your dynamic pricing needs. And there's also great capabilities within the product to manually manipulate pricing as needed. I find many of you are apprehensive about dynamic pricing. However, communicating upfront that dynamic pricing is in effect is a great practice and creates an honest rapport with your patrons. A strategy might be to limit what's available, then increase the price throughout the on sale to limit what the secondary market can profit off of your venue. If you know you have a popular show and you know you will have the demand, save a couple sections, rows in sections, and bump the price. Many times, if you use secondary market as a guide, you can understand what the market will bear, even in advance of the show. We all know secondary market will start to release tickets and pricing before they even have them. Use that against them to make more profit for your venue. It's very easy to hold back even a small amount of inventory and price it after the initial on sale. If you want to learn how to change a price after the initial pricing is set, again, just reach out and ask one of your CSMs. They would be happy to help you.
And there are also ways to capitalize on shows you know are likely to sell out quickly by doing sort of the opposite that Joe just described by using a type of reverse dynamic pricing. It's known as slow ticketing. So this concept deals with pricing tickets up front at what customers are willing to pay on the secondary market to avoid the middleman scalper taking advantage of the markup. For example, if the venue is sold out of $50 tickets for a show and patrons are flocking to the secondary market to spend $150 on the same tickets, the venue could consider pricing the tickets at $150 to start. This method is called slow ticketing because the instant sellouts due to bots and resellers are stalled in favor of a fan-based demand. The bots and resellers aren't scooping up these higher priced tickets based on the diminished likelihood that they would be able to mark the tickets up even further. Market pricing the premium content events at the forefront shifts sales back to the primary seller, which is you. You may have heard about Taylor Swift's most recent tour engaging this tactic, which reduced the number of tickets sold on the secondary market from 30% of total inventory down to 3% compared to her prior tour.
All right, so great example, Mikala. Let's talk about some real ShoWare examples. So Keith Urban is playing one of our venues. Primary tickets are $125 for the best seats, $110 for kind of that middle of the road area, and $100 for the furthest back. Looking on StubHub, row 18 on those most expensive seats is currently selling at $275. Row 22 is currently selling at $309, and another site, grandstand tickets, the $100 primary market tickets, are selling for $250, and on the same site, two seats in row 9 are selling for $693, and consumers will buy them, and they would rather buy them from you. The average fee on those tickets ranged from $25 to $100 per ticket on top of those prices with it on these secondary market sites. So in this scenario, if you held back 100 tickets and got a modest 2 times face value, that's an extra $12,500 for that show. If you had 10 shows with similar pricing, a 10-show concert series at similar pricing, you know, just by doing that small bit of activity on that one show, you would generate an extra 6 figures for your venue or organization. ShoWare Center works with Feld Entertainment for Disney on Ice, and also does some shows with Live Nation for artists like Post Malone and Judas Priest. And they utilize the ShoWare system, obviously. So Disney on Ice is a great example of dynamic pricing. There's 10 to 12 performances over 4 to 5 days, and once a show hits a certain capacity, the price automatically goes up, no matter what. So the most popular times would be Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. That's going to be your most expensive time to buy for. This maximizes profits on the tickets remaining for those shows, but it also pushes your bargain hunters to the less popular times to help fill that inventory, like a Thursday at 7:30 p.m. or a Saturday at 7:30 p.m. For Post Malone with 21 Savage, there were an insane amount of VIP VIP package offers. They were very expensive, but sold through very quickly. And guess what? There were seats that had been held back. They released them in the front of a couple of sections that were deemed VIP. They didn't include any of the extras, meet and greets, or different products and merchandise that were included with the first packages, and they were priced at $275. The majority of the seats in that section sold in the same section for $75. So people bought those seats at $275. They did not care about the price or complain. It's all about what the tickets cost when the consumer is ready to buy them, period.
And as a reminder, you can automate these inventory-based price changes in ShoWare in advance. So you don't have to necessarily babysit your ticket sales in order to change the pricing. You can utilize the pricing tab to maintain automatic price changes by inventory and set an increase, say, at 50%, 70%, and as Joe suggested, you could double or even triple the ticket price for just the last 5% of inventory available. As a matter of caution, always be transparent in policy when you may be increasing the price in the future. So in any advertising or messaging with prices listed, include a disclaimer that your organization reserves the right to adjust ticket prices, or just simply add a plus to your ticket price advertised to indicate that higher prices may be on the horizon. Training your audiences to buy early for the best pricing saves those precious marketing dollars over the length of the sales cycle.
So thanks, Caleb. And so briefly on limited release. So how you release inventory should be reimagined for every show and every on sale. Take a few minutes to identify what is unique about each show you produce, promote, or put on your stage. Don't be afraid to dress the house as you see fit. And a lot of times, I know this is a difficult conversation with a promoter or whatever, but hold back seats throughout the arena for those popular shows. Give the market time to set the price and cost average your inventory. For those of you that invest in stocks, dollar cost averaging is very commonplace. So if you go to market at $100 on your floor seats, but hold back 10% or 100 seats and sell the last 100 at an average price of $300, you have a much higher revenue per ticket. Take that extra revenue or the secondary market's going to. And just remember what Mikala mentioned on that last slide. Always be transparent about dynamic pricing, about the ticket price. May not, the 100 plus is a great tactic to be able to communicate that to your fans and cover yourself. So let's jump into our final slide for this section, which is distribution. Ingresso, and many of you have probably heard us start to talk about Ingresso quite a bit. Ingresso is a technology platform that operates as a seamless extension of your box office. It allows for low-cost distribution of tickets in a dynamic marketplace. We recently implemented our first site in Australia for a company called Village Roadshow Theatrical Productions. They have a rather large theme park business in the Asia Pacific region, and you may know them as producers of the movie, the Ocean's 11 franchise, and quite a few other popular movies. They happen to have a dinner show called the Australian Outback Spectacular that had a need for reserved seating, and so they implemented ShoWare. Distribution is so pervasive in the Asia Pacific region that they partner with over 600 resellers. Ingresso is a way to get your product in front of more people, domestic or global. So of the 600 resellers, 2 of those did a majority of the volume. And when VRTP and AOS went to the automated distribution API with Ingresso, they saw a 40% increase in uptake as everything's in real time with real tickets, no vouchers. It's all API driven, and it is the future of ticketing. In fact, in Asia, many venues do not put much effort into primary market as they use distribution to stretch their marketing budgets. They use the distributor's marketing budget and to sell their product. So let's do a little bit deeper dive here on when we say API connectivity is the future, it's mainly due to 7 risk factors when doing business the way everyone has been doing it for years. So working with vouchers and bulk tickets really exposes your business in these 7 areas. Fraud. E-tickets and vouchers can be forged or resold. One large venue recently decided to work with Ingresso after having one of their e-tickets copied and used to the tune of a $15,000 loss. Queues. No one likes to be in line longer than necessary. There are long lines associated with validating e-tickets or exchanging vouchers for real barcoded tickets that compromise the overall guest experience right at the beginning of their visit. Breakage, and this is a really big one. A large amount of tickets are sold through third parties that never even arrive at your venue, which allows the reseller to pocket that money. We've heard that breakage could account for up to 20% of monthly sales, and that doesn't seem fair if it can be prevented. Static pricing. It's the lost opportunity to adjust ticket pricing to accommodate demand. We've talked a lot about that so far today. I'm sure everyone here would have liked to drop or raise a price on distribution channels to increase revenue, but with vouchers and bulk tickets, this is really impossible to do. There's a lack of control. The manual tracking of hard ticket inventory is challenging to manage. Think of the team hours put into allocating and reporting manually for however many accounts you have at your venue. And then lack of transparency. We all know that all prices and partnerships are created equal at your venue. And keeping track of those terms and reporting on them could be challenging with the vouchers and bulk tickets. And finally, administrative overhead. This is a big one as well. Manual labor associated to these e-tickets and paper vouchers costs time and money for your organization. So simply put, the Ingresso API is the answer to resolve each one of these risk factors and to today's webinar point, drive more revenue for your venue. Fraud. Ingresso API ensures that actual barcodes from the ticketing system can only be sold once and only once. Queues. Real barcodes means a seamless guest experience when entering your venue. No more waiting in line at the box office. Breakage. Every barcoded ticket is bought, sold, and accounted for in the ticketing system. Static pricing. On the Ingresso API, it's now easy to update all pricing channels from your own ticketing system. Lack of control. The API allows the venue to control pricing and inventory by channel in real time. So full control back in your hands. Lack of transparency. All ticket prices and inventory managed and reported through the API by the partners. Now all your venue stakeholders can clearly see which accounts have produced and which ones may be underperforming. And finally, the big admin overhead. The direct Ingresso API eliminates the manual reconciliation of tickets by instantly reporting them in your ticketing system, your ShoWare system. So now those team members that are once doing everything manually can now focus on the most important thing at your venue. And that's, again, that quality of the guest experience. Okay, so quick summary here on inventory management. We're busy and we're all predispositioned to copy and paste on sale decisions. I challenge you to take some time before your next big build to do some reimagining of your scaling and pricing and release strategy. As I said, we're all busy, but are we so busy we're willing to leave dollars on the table, or worse yet, let the secondary market gobble up those dollars? Hold back a few seats in preferred seating areas, release them as you see fit, but release them as the market dictates, and start slow. You are a white label ticketing trailblazer, whether you know it or not. Accesso ShoWare lets you retain control. We hear about Live Nation and Ticketmaster releasing product directly to the secondary market because they see the market really as one. You have the same power and leverage. Someone is going to sell those premium tickets at a premium price. Why not you? And then finally, you know, as an example, a real world example, Metallica with their recent tour, they just skipped the primary market. So everything went all to resellers in lieu of the primary market. early indicators that ticketing evolution is happening. We need to address how this impacts the white label world. How do we harness this change and take advantage of it?
Absolutely. And if re-envisioning your sales cycle game plan seems pretty intimidating, that's the time to call your client services manager to talk through opportunities. Just remember, we're here for you other than just emergencies. And this is actually the fun stuff we like to help you with to help impact your business.
100%. So on to part 2 of the webinar, and this is utilizing the enhanced guest experience and to your venue's benefit. And this is a big one, relatively easy and low cost. In this section, we're going to talk about VIP offers, early entry for the big win, innovative seating scenarios, psychology of time saving, and how to get started. Remember that tickets are just one part of the whole revenue picture. Experiential opportunities, low cost to the venue, high value to the guest, and then incremental revenue boosts. So small upgrades, add-ons, lifts add up over time to seriously increase your bottom line. So VIP, this is something you need to do as a venue or promoter. So really, what is VIP? And VIP is whatever you want it to be. It's a separate area, it's roped off, it's a couch, it's a lanyard, it's a merchandise bundle, it's a photo op, it's a meet and greet, it's a premier parking spot, it's express entry, it's backstage tours. People want to get in that shorter line, they want to get in early, they want to feel special, and by the way, they want to post a selfie engaged in that special experience, whatever that may be. So for a small extra effort, you are getting more revenue, free marketing, the selfie, and creating awesome experiences that do nothing but bolster the buzz about your venue and its awesome events and experiences. As an example, the Accesso ShoWare Center has a VIP parking bundle that is sold as an add-on in the basket until it's sold out. So let's break that down. This VIP parking bundle at the ShoWare Center, their city charter is free parking at the venue. However, 200 or so spots are carved out as VIP. So for 20 extra dollars, you get to park close, you get to go in a VIP entrance, so that's quicker entry, quicker security check, and you get a $5 concessions voucher to drive you to that concessions voucher, the concessions counter. The package sells out for every show. It's an extra $4,000 per show. And you might be saying $4,000, is that worth it? But if you think about it, if you do 50 shows annually, that's an extra $200,000 per year for your venue. We spoke earlier about Feld Entertainment and Disney on Ice regarding dynamic pricing, and not surprisingly, they are big on creating those extra special VIP experiences. Be that ringside seating or story time with Belle. Let's take a look at story time with Belle VIP offer. It's $60. You add more magic to your Disney on Ice adventure with a 45-minute Disney character experience, which includes relive that tale as old as time as Belle reads Beauty and the Beast, meet Belle and Mickey, photo opportunities with personal devices, and one printed photo in autographed frame, VIP tour tag and lanyard, complimentary healthy snack and beverage, and that valuable merchandise cart will be there for those extra purchases. So if it's if there's 10 shows in this run, that's an extra $3,000 per show, and a 12-show run, $3,000 per show, or $36,000 for the 12-show run. So again, just one thing that they're doing. So these VIP upsells in the basket functionality and ShoWare, it is highly effective, and be a hero for your organization and experience that VIP glory. Mikala, back to you.
All right. So another low or no cost experiential offering other than VIP, often overlooked, is early entry. Allowing a limited number of patrons into your venue or on site at your festival can boost the bottom line for next to nothing. For example, Red Rocks Amphitheater often hosts artists who offer early entry to their fans, just 15 minutes before the general public can enter. Why would fans pay more for a ticket that allows them to enter just 15 minutes earlier? Consider the queue for a show with 7 p.m. doors. Early entry passes allow fans to roll in at 6:45, snagging optimal GA seats, the best merchandise, and also completing their drink purchases, all before the general public gets in 15 minutes later at 7 o'clock, who, by the way, have been standing outside the venue for 12 hours in the hot sun. Utilizing early entry for specific patrons also expands the guest purchasing window for merchandise and concessions, increasing non-ticket revenue for the venue. Offering limited early entry also allows for a relatively crowd-free experience at the bar or at the merch table prior to those floodgates opening at door time. One way to put this concept on trial is to offer early entry just for group sales. For example, groups could enter 15 or 30 minutes early to make purchases and settle into their seats before the rush of opening time. This type of no-cost perk is sometimes the only added incentive needed for large groups to recommit to upcoming events at your venue. Next, consider rethinking your stance on reserved seating. If you're a GA venue who has never considered offering reserved seats, consider giving it a shot for an upcoming event. Seat maps aren't required to be all or nothing in terms of reserved seating. So if you'd like to trial a few rows as reserved and the rest of the venue as GA, that can absolutely be done. Reserved seating is an often overlooked aspect of open venues like clubs. Increasingly, these spaces are moving to a reserved seating or split house scenario with a combination of GA and reserved options. Utilizing upgraded pit areas, individual booths and tables, or fully seated balcony areas versus the standing room only areas can also be considered when building a seat map. The value of seating areas based on proximity to the stage is generally the factor in determining pricing, as we discussed before, but also factor in the added value of not having to guard your seat with your jackets and sometimes your life, or standing up for 4 hours in a row during a show when pricing out a seating area. Recently, I attended a show where 95% of the audience jockeyed for general admission floor space, and then there was a row of 30 chairs set up in a separate mezzanine-style area. So the 30 chairs were in the back of the venue. They were priced at double the rest of the house, and they sold out first. So the value of a guaranteed seat location should definitely be considered when weighing ticket prices. Even the longtime open seating movie theater industry is shifting toward the reserved model, offering a guaranteed seat in advance, allowing customers to avoid that stressful last-minute task of finding a row that fits your party during previews in the dark. So this scenario also comes with the benefit of spending more time at the concessions area without that worry and hassle of finding or saving seats for your entire party. Again, consider doing a trial run for one event coming up prior to going on sale to gauge interest and also test out pricing. Ask for patron feedback, measure the results, and continue tweaking your seating model until you find the right match for your audiences. So, consumers are willing to pay more for a customer experience that goes beyond the norm and brings together the best elements of people, technology, and service with a smile. What parts of your life are you willing to pay more for? The most common place we look for an upgrade as consumers deals with our time. What is your time worth? So grocery pickup, restaurant delivery, convenience stores, valet parking, prime shipping, fast pass amusement park queuing. All services that meet the demand of leveraging the customer's need to best utilize their own time and energy. As mentioned previously today, early entry, VIP opportunities, crowd-free merch and concession shopping, reserved seating, and those small experiential upgrades can come at a very small cost to the venue and be of very high value to the patron. So brainstorm what your venue has to offer and start meeting this consumer demand with creative opportunities of your own. So where do we begin with this discovery process? Start with identifying what makes your venue special and determine which opportunities can potentially be monetized. Unique seating areas, dedicated patron entrances, parking options? How about access to sound check or pregame warm-ups? Once you've pinpointed some potential areas to leverage, utilize your accesso ShoWare system to set up these upgrades, then create upsells and add-ons in the online purchasing process. Experiment, and don't be afraid to try something inventive. Create a trial run to measure interest and see what works and doesn't work operationally. At the end of the day, offering customers more of what they want while creating incremental revenue boosts for the venue is a definite win-win. One thing I know your dedicated CSM would love to do more of is brainstorm creative ideas with you and your team and assist you in getting these creative offers to the market. Personally, I love this part of the job and invite you to reach out to your client services manager and have some strategic conversations. I can always make time to participate in these as well. We are here not just for the technical issues. Again, we are your partners. And in the white label world, your success is absolutely our success. So with that, at this time, we'd like to open the floor to any questions. And as a reminder, you can type your questions into the GoToWebinar panel. Lynette, do we have any questions that have been submitted so far?
Yes, we do. Thank you, Mikala. Our first question is, in regards to ticket resale, what happens if the ticket doesn't sell?
Okay, I can go ahead and take that one. So if during resale, if someone's put their ticket up for resale and the ticket does not sell, if it's an hour before the show, the ticket will go back into that original patron's online account. So that patron can either go ahead and attend the show or give it away by some other means. But basically, it makes that barcode valid again in that patron's account before the show, and no money transfers or transactions happening. And the venue doesn't lose any money, and the patron does not lose out on their ticket.
Great, thank you. Our next question is, once a ticket is put on sale, are there any controls? Like, do you have the opportunity to change the price or anything like that?
So absolutely, and so this is in regard to resale again. Once a ticket goes on sale for resale in that venue secondary market that you create, the ticket will actually go back on sale at whatever the default price is for that price category. So for example, if a season ticket holder is putting their ticket up for resale and the season ticket holder purchased it at a $35 price and they put it up for resale, the resale price is actually going to be the default, regular price if that's the case, which might be $50, or, if the inventory goes up and it changes, it might be $55. So, and then if it sells, the season ticket holder gets back their $35, the new person purchases their ticket for $55, and then the venue gets, that middle delta, and as well as all the fees. So absolutely, as soon as that ticket goes back into that resale inventory, it will, any of the, incremental pricing changes that happen will impact that ticket as well.
Perfect, thank you. Our next question is, how does reporting work with dynamic pricing if the pricing for the same section has changed a few times?
So really the reporting in ShoWare, if you sell, to use, Mikala examples of, if you sell 10 tickets at the season ticket price, it's going to report on that price. If you go to single ticket sales, same section, same category, and then they're $55, then it's going to report at 55. If you bump the price again, it's going to count the next 10 at that particular price point. So the reporting just again is going to just stack your quantities and what price those were sold at and give you the right sum total at the bottom.
Great, thank you. Let's see here. Our next question is, how many upsells can you present to a ticket purchaser?
So if you were using a call out message to accomplish one of those add-ons or upsells, you can do one at a time, one per performance. So it's the general rule of thumb is to do one upgrade at a time to maximize that conversion rate. You don't want to, give people the opportunity to sift through 20 upgrades until they get overwhelmed and don't want to do any of them. So the idea is one-to-one, and you can do one call out per performance, and that's under that marketing tab in your performance settings.
Perfect. And I think we have time for one last question. For a VIP pack, including a concessions voucher, will the system print an actual voucher or ticket to be collected at the concession stand?
So that is something you can set up if you do like a VIP voucher as its own performance and have it, added on as an upsell. Then it would, include the performance and the VIP voucher, and then you could customize that ticket text on the VIP voucher to say, concessions voucher worth $10, and then you just take that to the concession stand. You can also use the bundling functionality to pair those two things together so the customer doesn't necessarily have to select that. So they're going to get the ticket and the concessions bundle or the concessions voucher as part of the bundle as well. The short answer there is yes, you can, set it up to print out 2 tickets if you did want someone to have, a hard ticket in hand for the concession stand.
And I will say the way the ShoWare Center does it with their VIP parking and all those extras that they get is it also includes mail order. So they mail out those. So there's a parking hang tag. This is a little bit more of an older school manual type of model, and but just want to illustrate that there's lots of ways to accomplish this. So you get that parking hang tag, you get a brochure that has local restaurants that are sponsors for the center. You get that $5 food voucher included in there as well, and so a lot of this stuff is kind of pre-printed and then stuffed in envelopes to send out. There's more automated ways to do it, as Mikala highlighted, but just wanted to touch on that as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you, Mikala. Also, thank you, everyone, for attending today's webinar, Creative Ways to Increase Ticketing Revenue. If we didn't get the chance to address your question, we'll follow up with you individually. And if you have any other questions or would like to learn more about our accesso ShoWare solution, please contact us at sales@accesso.com. We'll be sending out the link to view the recording within the next day. And on behalf of Accesso, Mikala, Joe, and myself, thank you again for joining and enjoy the rest of your day.